this border war. Fans called it Moonshine Throwdown. I think that's the best rivalry name, an unofficial name, but the best rivalry name I've come across.
Yeah, unofficial that should become official soon enough.
Embrace it.
5 receivers at Duncan's disposal. Duncan stepping up. Hit! Ball is loose!
Big ball here.
Marshall thinks they have it. And the Herd do!
Here's the kickoff from Amaretto Curry to the Hilltoppers, and we are underway. And a fake reverse on the kick return. And here comes Townsend down the left sideline. What a way to start it for Western Kentucky on the road. And it is an opening touchdown return. And just like that, the Hilltoppers strike first.
Justin Rohrwasser to try to win it for Marshall from 53 yards out. It's got the leg. It is good! And the perfect season continues for Justin Rohrwasser.
Goes for 2. Going for the win. Western Kentucky going for the victory. Rolling to his right. Quick strike. And they did it! Western Kentucky has ended the perfect season into the hands of Willie McNeil. A shocker here in West Virginia. And it is over for Marshall. They end the regular season 11-1.
Welcome back to the Moonshine Throwdown podcast. Katie here with you doing the show solo again. Going to recap the game between the Tops and Michigan State, and then we're going to look ahead to a big Conference USA showdown as the undefeated UTSA Roadrunners are coming to Bowling Green to play the Tops on Saturday. So I got a little bit to cover. These solo episodes are always a unique experience for me. It's always easier to do these shows when you got somebody to talk to and talk with and share ideas and all that good stuff. But hey, I'm going to do the best that I can because the show must go on. So the Tops go up to East Lansing and face Michigan State in what was the Spartans' homecoming game. But boy, I bet you there were some folks that were a little bit nervous about what Western Kentucky was bringing to the table. At the end of the day, the Spartans do pull out the victory 48-31, which drops the Tops to 1-3. But man, if you look at these indicators, I'm telling you right now, it doesn't look like a 17-point difference in the game. Western Kentucky actually outgains Michigan State 560 yards to 519. Time of possession is razor thin, 30 minutes, 25 seconds for Michigan State, 29 minutes, 35 seconds for the Tops, less than a minute of difference of time of possession. Tops gain more first downs than Michigan State, 31-26, but the Spartans win the turnover battle. Tops turn it over once, Michigan State not at all. So I can't say that that's the difference in the game, obviously, but you would expect these numbers to be a little bit more lopsided. And I think ultimately when you talk about this game and you go back and you look at it, it was that Western Kentucky had to settle for some field goals and opportunities instead of getting touchdowns, whereas the Spartans were able to get those touchdowns. And that is ultimately the difference in the game. I'm going to ask this question, and I don't really take this, say this tongue in cheek, but I'm kind of being serious here. Is Western Kentucky maybe the best 1-3 team in the country? I mean, they're losing some heartbreakers in a very different fashion than Marshall's losing heartbreakers. Western has just had these slow starts that have put them behind the 8 ball from the get-go. And if they're able to keep pace early on in games, maybe they pull some of these out. But I'll tell you what, I think that what this equates to and what this tells me is that Western Kentucky is a bona fide battle-tested team and one that is going to be super dangerous in the Conference USA slate. I mean, I'm not sure anybody is looking forward to having to play Western Kentucky right now. And as the season goes on, if everybody continues to stay healthy, I doubt even fewer teams are going to be looking forward to playing the Tops. But let's talk about some stats from this game. Bailey Zappi, 46 of 64 for 488 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He did have a lost fumble. Quarterback rating 69.9. Nice. Earning him Conference USA Offensive Player of the Week honors. Also added to the Maxwell Award watch list this week. Finally, the national media is starting to take notice of what is going on in BGKY. Something that we've known for, about a month now, a little over a month. This guy's good, and he's going to put yards up on every defense. Noah Whittington leads the way for the Tops in the rushing category, 7 attempts for 37 yards. I guess the Tops at this point are just all in on the pass. Every week we keep waiting for somebody to break out in the run game. And, I know the slow starts and being behind 7, 10, 14 points before they start scoring is not lending itself to being able to rush the ball as often. But, man, we're just not seeing any real production from the run game. It's all in on the pass. So if that's what they are, that's what they are. And, I think they can win plenty of games in Conference USA by doing that. Jareth Stearns, what a monster game for Stearns. 17 catches, 186 yards, 1 touchdown, tying the single game receptions record with Lucky Jackson that was set just a couple of years ago. And for Stearns' efforts this season as well, added to the Biletnikoff Award watch list. So a pretty good week for recognition for this topper duo of Zappi and Stearns. They're starting to get some pub on a national level. They're starting to get some recognition. And I think these numbers are just going to continue to get more and more gaudy because, is there a secondary? Is there an overall defense as good as Michigan State's in Conference USA? Probably not. So these numbers are just going to become more video game-esque, and it's fun. It's fun to watch. Mitchell, big game. Tinsley, 7 catches, 127 yards, good for 18.1 yards per catch. Malachi Corley continues to have a great 2021 season. 7 catches, 69 yards, 9.9 yards per catch. And how about this? Joey Belgian. The stat line initially doesn't blow you away, but boy, the tail end of it sure does. 2 receptions, 5 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's how you do it. 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. Defensively for the Tops, Antoine Kincaid leads the way. 10 tackles, 8 solo, 1 tackle for loss. D'Angelo Malone, 9 tackles, 4 solo, 2 tackles for loss, a pass defended, and a quarterback hurry. And then a couple of defensive backs chipping in for the Tops in a big way. Caleb Oliver, 7 tackles, 4 solo, 1 pass defended. Khalif Halasi, 7 tackles, 2 solo. But here's the thing. Impact plays for the Tops, they did not show up in this game. No sacks as a team. 3 quarterback hurries is okay, but if you're not getting any sacks, you really need to be getting the quarterback off his spot and rushing some throws a little bit more than that. 0 forced turnovers by this topper defense. I mean, I guess if you account for the fact that, those impact plays are basically non-existent, and to still be in the thick of this game for a lot of it, for most of it, just tells you how dangerous this topper offense can be. I mean, they can get a so-so game from this defense, which, by the way, they were going up against one of the nation's finest running backs, a Heisman hopeful. But still, this just tells you that you can get a so-so average type game from this defense, and this offense can still beat you. The Tops don't have to play lights out on defense to win games. They can give up some points, but this offense, I just think, can outpace just about any offense that Conference USA is going to bring to the table. Special teams, Braden Narveson, 3 for 3 on field goals, 2 for 2 on extra points, tying the consecutive field goals made record for Western Kentucky. I think it's at 12, maybe, tying Garrett Schwetman, the all-timer, all-century team, and also a on the staff, on the coaching staff for the Tops this year. So how about that? That's pretty cool. John Haggerty, 2 punts, 109 yards, 54.5 yard average, and a long of 61. Look, a lot of guys had a pretty decent day. It's just the Tops did not get a fast enough start and settled for field goals when they needed touchdowns in order to have a legitimate shot at winning this game. But they were there. They could have went into East Lansing and ruined homecoming for the Spartans if a few plays here and a few plays there go their way. And I heard tell that there was a very egregious call made, I think, on the fumble. Maybe it was the fumble that Zappe lost it. I think Steve was telling me that it was pretty obvious that he was down and the play was kind of over. And then the ball popped out and they awarded the Spartans the turnover. But hey, man, it sucks that you almost have to expect a call like that is going to go against you when you're putting up a fight against a team that doesn't think you should be putting up a fight against them. But anyway, good effort. 1-3 is I know it's hard to say it's just the record, because at the end of the day, it's really the only thing that matters. But the Tops have a big opportunity here to, I don't want to say ruin the season of UTSA, because they wouldn't be ruined with one loss, but they are the darling right now. They're undefeated. They're starting to raise in the rankings. They're starting to get a few top 25 votes. Everybody's kind of like perking up on UTSA because there are so few undefeated teams left in the country, and UTSA's got a big win over Illinois on the season. Then they went to Memphis and got a big win against Memphis. So they're winning some games and they're showing that they're a pretty good football team, but they have to come to Bowling Green and play the Toppers this coming weekend. And on the other side of this break, I'm going to talk about that. So hang with me. It's Moonshine Throwdown Podcast.
Zappe juggled that snap, then throws a perfect ball to the corner. Touchdown, Jareth Stern.
Epitome of the bucket bowl. You put a bucket in the corner end zone, you throw it into it. Look at this. Just right in the breadbasket. You don't draw it up any better than that.
All right, it's UTSA week, conference opener for the Tops, and it's going to be a tough one. I mean, let's face it. Roadrunners are no slouch. They're a daggone good team. You're not 5-0 by accident. But to be honest with you, I think I feel better about this game now than I did in the preseason, even though UTSA is 5-0. Because now I know what this Western Kentucky offense is capable of. I know that they still have quality pass rushers that can get into the backfield and make some trouble for a quarterback. The only questions to me are, can they slow down Sincere McCormick, who's one of the best backs in the country and easily one of the best backs in the conference, but one of the best in the country as well. Power Index sees this as a coin flip. Toppers 51.8% chance to win. And you got to think that they're getting that edge because this is a home game for them. Toppers -3.5, over under 69.5 points. So fairly high scoring affair if Vegas is right. UTSA and the Tops have only met one time previously in their history, and that was in 2014 in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And Western got a big win, 45-7. But this is not 2014, and these are not the same two teams. But of course, the game going down October 9th this Saturday, 7 p.m. and 6 p.m. Central Time. I couldn't find if the game is broadcast on TV anywhere. So if anybody knows, be sure and share that. But I couldn't see it anywhere. When I think about this game, a few things come to mind, and a few questions, that is. And looking and seeing what we've seen Western Kentucky do this year and what we know UTSA can do well and not so well. A couple of questions for me are, can Western just get off the field when they need to? Can they get those third down stops? Can they keep UTSA in third and long and give themselves an opportunity to do that? Can the Toppers just get enough possessions if they can't get off the field? If McCormick has a big game, if UTSA is able to continually move the ball and just pick up, a first down, converting third downs or whatever, is this going to be another, not necessarily like Army type game, but, will the Tops have enough possessions in order to outpace the Roadrunners? That's a legitimate question. But conversely, does UTSA have enough help in the secondary to be able to cover this vaunted topper air raid offense? I think I know the answer to that one. There's no way they have enough guys on the roster, top to bottom, or on the field at any given time, top to bottom, to cover every single wideout that Western can throw at you. I mean, if they go 5 wide, somebody's going to be open. They just go that deep. So let's talk about some of these players to look out for UTSA, and it starts with the quarterback, number 17, Frank Harris, 6 foot, 200-pound senior, 99 out of 144 on the season, 1,126 yards, 6 touchdowns versus 2 interceptions, only been sacked 5 times. He's also the 3rd leading rusher for the Roadrunners, 33 carries, 113 yards, and 1 touchdown on the ground. Look, man, he takes care of the ball, only 2 interceptions, and fairly elusive, only been sacked 5 times in 5 games. I mean, that's a definite key to success. If you can take care of the ball and avoid getting sacked, obviously that's 2 positive things that any quarterback can do. Number 23, running back, we've talked about him a couple times already, Sincere McCormick, 5'9", 205-pound junior, 132 carries, 541 yards, good for 4.1 yards per carry and 6 touchdowns on the ground. And yeah, you might say, well, that, what blows you away about that? Well, I mean, 541 yards through 5 games tells you he's good for over 100 yards a game. And 4 yards per carry, last time I checked, will get you a first down every 3 downs. So just because the yardage and the yards per carry average doesn't blow you away, wow, he's not getting 8 yards per carry. Well, it doesn't mean he can't come in and rip off 250 yards rushing. I mean, he is good. And to help lighten the load for McCormick, number 25 running back Brendan Brady, 5'11", 215-pound senior, 37 carries, 140 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground, good for 3.8 yards per carry for Brady as well. So, they have the ability to move the ball, but UTSA is actually more pass heavy than they are run heavy this year. So a couple of wideouts you're going to have to want to pay attention to if you're a Topper fan. Number 18 wide receiver Zachary Franklin, 6'1", 185-pound junior, 29 catches, 397 yards, and 4 touchdowns, good for 13.7 yards per catch. Those 397 yards and those 4 touchdowns lead the team for the Roadrunners. Number 12 wide receiver Joshua Cephas, 6'3", 190-pound junior, 34 catches, leads the team for the Roadrunners, 374 yards and 2 touchdowns, good for 11 yards per catch. This Roadrunner offense does a pretty good job piling up yardage, 431 yards average per game for the Roadrunner offense, 270 through the air, 161 on the ground, scoring just below 35 points per game, 34.6. Toppers are allowing 35 points per game, so right in line with the average of what Western Kentucky is giving up. Defensively, the guys that are going to be charged with slowing down this air raid offense, best I can say is good luck. Nobody's been able to shut it down. It's just that Western's been playing from behind for a lot of the games this year, so if they can get out and score on that first possession and at least play, with a lead for a little bit, we'll see how it goes. But leading the way for the Roadrunner defense, number 39 safety Rashad Wisdom. Man, they got some dudes with some great names. Sincere McCormick, Rashad Wisdom. You got to love it. 5'9", 205-pound junior, 25 tackles, leads the way for the Roadrunner. 16 of those solo and 2 passes defended. Number 15 linebacker Trevor Harmonson, 6'3", 225-pound senior, 22 tackles and 12 solo. Number 88 linebacker. That's a wild number for a linebacker. Jamal, I don't know if this is Ligon or Ligon, but hopefully it's one of them. 6'2", 220-pound sophomore, 22 tackles, 10 solo, 1 pass defended. Number 19 safety DeAdrian Taylor, 5'11", 175-pound senior, 17 tackles, 13 solo, and 2 sacks. Number 59 linebacker Clarence Hicks, 6'2", 225-pound senior, 14 tackles, 8 solo, 3.5 sacks for the Roadrunners, and a forced fumble. Look, this defense does a pretty decent job. 298 yards per game average, so under 300 yards per game allowed. They do a really good job of stopping the run. They're only allowing 71 yards per game on the ground, but that means they're giving up 227 yards through the air. And guess who happens to be pass heavy? Yep, Western Kentucky. So we'll see if I don't want to call them a porous defense, but they're really good at loading up on the run, and that's not what Western Kentucky does. So we'll see if Western can light them up for about 450 yards, 500 yards through the air. Defensively, the Roadrunners only allowing 17.6 points per game, but the Tops are scoring 39, so something's got to give there. Impact plays for the Roadrunners: 13 sacks as a team, 3 interceptions, 5 forced fumbles, and 7 fumble recoveries. They do a pretty good job of getting to the quarterback. Western's done a great job of keeping Bailey Zappi clean, and even if they are facing a team that's good at getting to the quarterback, Kitley and crew are really good at calling some quick passes and getting the ball out faster to kind of nullify that strength of a defense. So, but once the ball's in the hands, these guys are fairly good at getting the ball out, averaging about 1 forced fumble a game, a little better than 1 fumble recovery per game. So you're going to have the name of the game is going to be ball security once you complete those passes. So what are the Tops going to have to do to get a win in this game? Basically, for me, number one, it's strike early. They can't do the old down by 7, down by 14, and then, wake the offense up type thing. Let's strike early. Let's pounce on them early, and let's make the Roadrunners play from behind. Number two, just like what we saw with Michigan State, which kind of was the undoing of the Tops in that game, you got to get touchdowns. You can't be settling for field goals. It's okay to get 1 or 2 here and there, but when you're having an opportunity to get a touchdown, you got to get that 6. That's how you win games. Number 3, for me, I think the Toppers are going to have to win first and second down, both offensively and defensively, but particularly on defense, because we need to see if Western can get off of the field, especially if they come out with a slow start offensively. And number 4, if you're going to win first down and second down, then you need to kind of carry that over to third down and keep these Roadrunners well below 50%. That's tough to do, but if you can get below 50% third down conversion rate against a team, or allow a team to not be better than 50%, that's always a good thing. So, I guess what it boils down to for me is if Western can just get off the field and give their offense the ball. That's basically what I think is the main key to victory. Keeping the Roadrunners on the sideline and keeping your offense on the field. If you limit we worry about limiting if Western will have enough possessions to score enough points. Well, if you can flip that script and Western lives on the field, Jiminy Christmas, they could do whatever they want. They could, they're good at scoring quickly, but if the defense is turning right around and getting 3 and outs, then holy moly, this could get out of hand in a big way. I don't really see it happening that way. I'm just saying, could you imagine what a score would look like if Western just piled up the 3 and outs on defense and gave the ball to Zappi and crew for, a bunch of the game. 200 proof player this week. I'm going with the tandem that's hot. They are like white hot right now. Bailey Zappi, Jareth Stearns, keeping the ball rolling, keeping the yardage piling up, keeping the receptions mounting up. Moving the chain. These guys are just unbelievable. The chemistry that they have. This is really something special that is not just brewing now in Western Kentucky. It's full on brewed, and I'm hoping everybody's enjoying what they're seeing, because this is pretty awesome stuff. This is a spotlight type game because they got the Maxwell Award watch list, the Biletnikoff Award watch list this past week after the game at Michigan State. So let's, you bring it in the Roadrunners who are 5-0, and everybody's kind of like, wow, UTSA is doing really good. They're 5-0, they're making some noise. And this is the type of game to where you're like, okay, they ran into the buzzsaw that is Western Kentucky. Oh, by the way, Bailey Zappi and Jareth Stearns just lit it up again. Mitchell Tinsley lit it up again. Malachi Corley lit it up again. So this is a type of game to where a lot of guys around the conference will perk up and go, oh, okay, we've been sleeping on Western a little bit. They just kind of put one on UTSA, maybe we need to take them a little bit more seriously. I like the Tops to get the win at home. I just do. I like this one, maybe a little closer than, I would like it to be, but still give me the Tops 45-38 and handing the Roadrunners their first loss. I like it. I mean, they deserve this win. I think it's time. They've lost some close games. They were so close at beating Army, and they were a few field goals traded for touchdowns, or vice versa. I'm sorry, touchdowns traded for field goals, for being right there in a position to steal one from Michigan State on the road. And now none of that. We're just going to go in, take care of business, and beat the Roadrunners. Call it a day, period. So give me the Tops 45-38, getting that first win in conference, and putting things a little bit closer in the Western Division for some of those other teams, some of the UABs and so forth. All right, final thoughts time. Look, we've seen Marshall's on a 3-game skid, Western's on a little bit of a skid. I think both teams are going to get it right this week. I do. I think Marshall's going to handily beat Old Dominion. I think Western Kentucky's going to go in and surprise some people outside of Bowling Green and outside of the people that listen to this podcast. You're not surprised by what Western Kentucky can do. You are just probably surprised at what their record is right now. But some other conference mates, teams, fan bases are going to, have this eye-opening experience when they say, holy crap, Zappe is, he's just not quitting. I mean, this topper team's not quitting putting up yards and points. Finally, they were able to come out on the positive side of that. So if you're going to the game, I mean, be loud. I'm obviously be loud, but the toppers are asking for an environment like they had against Indiana, and there's no reason to not provide that. I mean, 22,000 is not a lot of people. And this is a really good, fun to watch football team. It's not like you're going to go see a 6-3 ball game. You're going to see a lot of yards and a lot of points. I mean, if I were in Bowling Green, I would go. If I were an hour around, a radius around Bowling Green, I would make plans to go. This is going to be a fun game. It's going to be a good game. And it's going to be a big win for the Tops. This is going to be one that they are finally on the right side of. So I hope everybody has a good time at homecoming for the Herd as well. But let's get 2 wins this week, and we can come back next week, and we can get this podcast back on track with Trace being able to come back, and Steven be back from vacation, and we can all just get back to normal with this podcast. It's just so weird to talk to yourself, not to yourself, but talk, I don't know, by myself for these episodes. It never seems to go as smoothly as it does when I have somebody on the show with me. So go Herd, go Tops. Until next week, we'll see you later.